Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about the upcoming pro-feminist comic book movie called Captain Marvel. And while before I try to remain optimistic, hoping the politics wouldn't ruin this movie's premiere too bad, but now, as the release gets closer and closer, coming on March 8th, this movie's star Brie Larson just keeps mucking things up over and over again, forcing issues, politics, and some pretty offensive biases into this project. In my opinion, a Marvel movie should be fun and open to all audiences, but no. Brie Larson is making it pretty clear that certain groups aren't welcome in this outing. No sir. This time Marvel is going full-blown social justice warrior, which also means they're becoming anti-white male. The same kinds of white males who built up this whole Marvel Cinematic Universe to begin with. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and the Hulk, all the best heroes in this franchise are white dudes, who are straight too for that matter. Perhaps this is part of the reason why Marvel is doing this though. Remember, this MCU started way back in 2008, over a decade ago, before this current wave of feminism and the rise of SJWs even happened. And since we're still living in the age of sequels and spin-offs from those original male hero movies, well, now it seems Marvel is course correcting here a bit. And while last year's editions weren't the worst, Black Panther brought an African American hero to the group officially, and then later Ant-Man 2 became Ant-Man and the Wasp, with the girl hero pretty much emasculating Paul Rudd every chance she gets. Still not the worst movie ever, but now, with this Captain Marvel one that's coming, this whole girls rule, boys drool shit is getting a little out of hand. That brings us to today's story. Recently, Brie Larson went full-blown anti-white male at one of her press conferences, claiming she wanted the reporters covering the movie to be more diverse. And as we've learned over the years here, when a liberal says they want things more diverse, that really means they want less whites. I mean, it's not like the SJWs who are looking for diversity are going to pick people from Switzerland, Iceland, New Zealand, or Australia. Hell no. They want less whites and more blacks and browns. Let's be real. And just talking about making a group this way, based on race, well, it just feels icky and wrong to me to say it out loud. It would be so obviously racist to say, hey, I want my landscaping company to only hire white people. Or if you said, I want my nail salon employees to only be Vietnamese women. This all sounds pretty racy to me, but for some reason, when an SJW actress says they want less whites in their press room, they think that's a brave and heroic thing to say, like they're doing charity work for social justice. Please, who cares what skin color the reporters you talk to are? Come on, Brie Larson, you shouldn't be so fixated on race in the first place. I'd be more concerned about whether these reporters are good and professional and talented at writing. That's what's in their job description, not what race they are, you dum-dum. For more information on Captain Marvel's supposedly diverse press tour, let's turn to the article that broke the story. It's from IndieWire and it's called Brie Larson Isn't Letting Her Captain Marvel Press Tour Be Overwhelmingly White and Male. Sounds pretty much like an attack to me too. And I love the subtitle of this. It tries to save this by saying, the Oscar-winning actress is taking an active role in ensuring her blockbuster press tour remains inclusive. Inclusive my ass. This is only inclusive if you have a minority card, of which Brie Larson approves of. And by the way, the first name of Brie is pretty embarrassing. B-R-I-E? What kind of hippie bullshit is that anyway? Whatever, we gotta move on I guess. I really don't have enough time to talk about all the drugs Brie's parents were on when they named her that back in 1989, but that's okay. Let's move forward. Let's focus on this press story and see what IndieWire has to say about it. Brie Larson is committed to making the press tour for Captain Marvel as inclusive as possible. For her recent interview with Marie Claire, the Oscar-winning actress handpicked Kia Brown to be her interviewer. Brown called the designation the biggest opportunity she's had in her career and noted that nobody usually wants to take a chance on a disabled journalist. By becoming more active in determining her press opportunities, Larson is hoping to heighten inclusive voices. Heightening inclusive voices, my ass. I know I already said that, but it just works so perfectly here. And all Brie Larson is really doing here is textbook virtue signaling. She's publicly expressing opinions to demonstrate her own good character and moral correctness, supposedly. Essentially, Larson is waving a giant flag that says, I'm an SJW too, and I'm down with the anti-white male cause. About a year ago, I started paying attention to what my press days looked like, and the critics reviewing movies and noticed it appeared to be overwhelmingly white male. Larson said when asked about her reasons for choosing Brown as her interviewer. So I spoke to Dr. Tracy at the USC Annenberg Inclusive Initiative, who put together a study to confirm that. Moving forward, I decided to make sure my press days were more inclusive. After speaking with you, the film critic Valerie Complex, and a few other women of color, it sounded like across the board they weren't getting the same opportunities as others. When I talked to the facilities that were providing it, they all had different excuses. Yeah, well, the excuse is there are probably more men who are becoming reporters and workers at press events. It could also be that men are better at it and rise to the top faster, but we don't even need to go that far. There's plenty of other problems with this to address too, like how Brie suddenly noticed there were lots of whites around, and the fact that she found found that weird and wrong is pretty telling. She hates us. And it also tells us that Bree is very stupid because she doesn't realize this is a historically white country, been like that for centuries. Only in recent years have blacks and browns started to grow greatly in size. But even so, whites are still at least 60% here. So seeing a lot of white people in a majority white country shouldn't be surprising, and it shouldn't offend you, unless you're an idiot. This is equivalent to going to Japan and saying, wait a second, most of the people here are Japanese. This is wrong. I want all my reporters to be blacks from the Congo. Absolutely absurd, and so is what Brie Larson's saying. Next, Brie even brings up a fake bogus study she had made, which confirmed her bias. That's why it's called confirmation bias, lady, and it's not a good thing. Basically, anyone could go out and find studies and information that supports their stances, if they look hard enough, or if they cook up some fake study. That doesn't mean the conclusions you reach with that information are correct, though. You're not more accurate or right, especially if you're trying to force more minorities into shit for no reason. What an absolute joke. Larson's celebrity is about to hit new heights with the release of Captain Marvel, or so they hope, the first solo outing for a female superhero in the decades-old Marvel Cinematic Universe. The actress said the role has given her an opportunity to begin working on solutions to Hollywood's gender parity, solutions to a problem that doesn't exist, I guess. And there needs to be a correction here. This is actually the second female movie for Marvel. Elektra is one they came out with in 2004, but everyone seems to forget about that. Read a book, IndieWire guy. I want to go out of my way to connect the dots, Larson said. It just took me using the power that I've been given now as Captain Marvel. The role comes with all these privileges and powers that make me feel uncomfortable because I don't really need them. It's a byproduct of the profession and a sign of the times. But any comfortableness I feel is balanced by the knowledge that it gives me the ability to advocate for others and myself. Advocating for what though? There's no big glaring horrible injustice happening to women or minorities. Not in America. Just because you're seeing lots of white males at your press tour doesn't mean there's something wrong here. When I watch basketball on TV, I see lots of black players. Is that wrong? Whenever my future kids go to a school one day, they will be taught by mostly female teachers. Why is that not an issue, but Brie Larson's case is? Oh, I know why. Because this is anti-white male bullshit that stems from the biased and racist minds of social justice warriors. Funny enough, they actually think being offensive and racist like this is okay. Or rather, a liberal like Brie would claim that you can't even be racist to white people, because the way they see it, we're evil and we've been in power forever, so that justifies them attacking us now and being racist towards us. It really doesn't though, because these SJW philosophies are made up bullshit. The simple truth is this: they hate us because they ain't us, and they're jealous of whites and our great successes. This encourages SJWs to go and find reasons to justify their bigotry, much like how all bigots and racists usually have some sort of internal justification for their beliefs. Larson made headlines last year for calling out the gender imbalance within the film criticism world, while accepting an award at the Crystal and Lucy Awards. Larson called the lack of equal representation among critics an issue that's been bubbling. Am I saying I hate white dudes? Larson said, no, I'm not. But if you make a movie that is a love letter to women of color, there's an insanely low chance a woman of color will have a chance to see your movie and review your movie. Captain Marvel opens in theaters nationwide March 8th. Women of color can see and review movies whenever they want. So, Brie Larson, your virtue signaling is making me sick. Funny how these SJWs eventually become the kinds of bigots they claim to fight against. If Brie heard someone say there should be more whites in the NBA, that would be considered racist and wrong to her. But for some reason, asking for more blacks or browns in a white profession is a-okay. It's encouraged even because reasons. Well, I'm here to say your reasoning is way off though. You're becoming the racist now, lefties, and I really can't take any more of this hypocrisy. If you're gonna hate us, at least come at us straight and correct and proper. Admit you hate white people and be honest with us and yourselves. Because pretending you're being virtuous for doing this is not gonna work on us anymore. In the end, every time Brie Larson speaks publicly, she's hurting the chances for her Captain Marvel movie. Marvel certainly must be considering her a liability at this point. Larson could be the actress that brings down the whole MCU. Mark my words. Or at the very least, we could see the first MCU movie to ever bomb and lose money. God willing at this rate. And one last thing before we go. I came across a really cool re-edit of the Captain Marvel trailers online. It's called a fixed, no feminism version, and I have to say, this is exactly what I wish the movie was like, and the original trailer. I really like what the editor Ivan Ortega did with this. Link to his edit below this video. It's basically just a cool, badass looking hero movie this way. One that happens to star a female, sure, but there's really no need to focus on that aspect at all, as this re-edit shows. Yes, much like how the successful Wonder Woman movie avoided the feminist girl power stuff a couple years ago, so too does this re-edit of the Captain Marvel trailer envelop the same kind of spirit. It turns a formerly divisive anti-male trailer into a fun, all-included family adventure for everyone. This new version even uses a much cooler, much more appropriate song. Metallica's Atlas Rise gets a lot of play here, and I think that's different and great for a couple of reasons. You see, first of all, it captures the 1990s time period really well. I actually hope the movie ends up doing a good 90s soundtrack like this, similar to how iconic and period-driven the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack was. Captain Marvel has the potential for that too. And also, another reason I like Metallica here is, it plays well to men. Having this song in the re-edited trailer does the opposite of what the original trailer did. Instead of being divisive and attacking the male audience, playing some Metallica here panders to us a bit, and it shows this movie is for the guys too. Sucks that it takes a re-edit of the trailers to actually get me excited about this movie again, but hey, who knows? Maybe it will still be a decent flick in the theaters. I guess we'll just have to wait a few more weeks and see for ourselves. What do you guys think? Is Captain Marvel going too far with this anti-white male crap? Will the movie still succeed despite these Ghostbusters 2016 level shenanigans? And is Brie Larson as hot as she thinks she is? Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, and we'll see you all next time.